Imagine you are driving on a vast American highway, the kind where your GPS just shows one straight line. You are heading toward a nearby state, maybe for a weekend getaway, a roadside diner meal, or just to meet some folks in a sleepy town. But as you drive, something feels off. The road stretches endlessly. No towns, no gas stations, no houses, just silence. Hours go by and still, you see no trace of human life, not a single soul. You start to wonder, is this some kind of post-apocalyptic movie set? But it's real. It's America. Right now, entire US states are emptying out, becoming eerie ghost zones with no people, no movement, and sometimes no future. And the reasons? They are not what you think. It's not just weather or jobs. Some are being strangled by isolation, others by economic collapse. Some are so cold that even boiling water turns to snow mid-air. And in many, something darker is at play. A silent death of community, culture, and connection. This is not just about migration patterns. This is about survival, identity, and what happens when an entire population quietly disappears. So what are these 10 American states that are collapsing? In this video, let's find out. Number 10. Wyoming. At first glance, Wyoming looks like a painting with towering mountains, endless plains, and skies so vast it makes you feel microscopic. But this tranquil beauty masks something darker, a state that's slowly emptying out, one family at a time. Wyoming isn't just quiet, it's hollowing. With just over 580,000 people spread across a landmass larger than the UK, the state feels deserted. Towns are so far apart that driving an hour without seeing another soul becomes normal. The promise of peace quickly turns into eerie silence, the kind that reminds you you are alone, and not always by choice. Its economy once leaned heavily on coal, oil, and gas. But those jobs are vanishing, and unlike tech or service industries, they are not coming back. With few universities and almost no corporate presence, young people leave in droves. They go to Denver, Salt Lake City, or even further to anywhere with Wi-Fi, jobs, and people their age. What remains are ghost-like communities clinging to memories of prosperity, sustained by retirees and government subsidies. Then comes winter, brutal and unrelenting. Blizzards are so fierce that they bury entire towns, and whiteout conditions can last for days. Residents stockpile food not out of habit, but necessity. Emergency responders can't always reach you. If your car breaks down on a back road, there's a real risk you might not make it back. Add to that the looming shadow of the Yellowstone supervolcano, a literal ticking time bomb beneath your feet, and the psychological toll grows heavier. Here, you are not just isolated. You are stranded in a pressure cooker of climate, economic decline, and geological anxiety. Wyoming may be heaven for the few who want total solitude, but for the rest, it's a land quietly giving up on the idea of society. Number 9. Vermont. From the outside, Vermont sells you a dream, offering crimson foliage in the fall, ski lodges in winter, and charming villages that look like they belong in a snow globe. But behind the romantic postcards is a state quietly emptying out, like a candle burning too slowly to notice until it's gone. Vermont has one of the highest property taxes in America, and despite its rural feel, the cost of living rivals that of some mid-tier cities. Affordable housing is a myth unless you are inheriting property. Meanwhile, job opportunities are thin, unless you are in education, healthcare, or remote tech work. And even then, salaries often don't match the expense of simply staying warm. And winter is not a season here. It's a regime. Snow doesn't fall gently. It takes over. Roads freeze, power lines sag, and cars vanish under layers of ice. For 6 months a year, leaving your house feels like a calculated risk. And when you do make it into town, there's not much waiting for you. Vermont's small-town charm doesn't translate into economic dynamism. There are a few startups and a few new industries, Just the same old general stores, family-run diners, and empty town squares. The younger generation? They are gone. College students leave and rarely return. There's no nightlife, no diversity of experience, no buzz. The exodus has left behind a graying population that remembers when Vermont had energy, not just heat. Despite being one of the safest and most environmentally conscious states, Vermont has become a place where silence wins. It's not dying in protest, it's fading in compliance. Number 8. North Dakota. North Dakota is the kind of place where nature dares you to survive. It once boomed with oil, promising fast money and faster growth. But when the wells slowed, so did the heartbeat of the state. Now it's one of the most deserted, unforgiving places in America. The cold here's not just uncomfortable, it's lethal. Minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit, with wind chill isn't an exaggeration. It's Tuesday. Kids don't play outside in winter because frostbite can happen in under 10 minutes. Schools cancel not for snow, but because buses might break down in temperatures where diesel literally gels. In the worst blizzards, people tie ropes from their front doors to their mailboxes just to avoid getting lost in the whiteout. And isolation isn't just environmental, it's emotional. Even in Fargo, the state's largest city, it feels like a glorified small town. Drive 10 minutes out, and you are in silence again. No malls, no subways, no buzz, just sky and snow. The few towns that thrived during the oil rush now echo with emptiness. Bars shut down, schools merge or close. Hospitals are hours away. The young people have left. The jobs have dried up. The hope has frozen over. Even with low taxes and high safety rankings, North Dakota remains a place where survival feels like the only goal. And that's not enough to make people stay. Number 7. South Dakota. Sure, the granite faces of U.S. presidents stare proudly from Mount Rushmore, but their gaze overlooks a state quietly fading into irrelevance. South Dakota has a monument that draws tourists, but after the snapshots and souvenir stands close, what remains is an empty landscape struggling to hold on. The state suffers from a paradox. It has just enough national recognition to attract brief attention, but not enough infrastructure or opportunity to convince anyone to stay. Outside of Sioux Falls or Rapid City, life slows to a crawl. High-paying jobs are scarce. The tech sector barely exists. Young professionals who graduate from in-state universities pack up and leave without hesitation. South Dakota isn't where careers happen. It's where ambitions stall. Then comes the weather, which is brutal, unpredictable, and unforgiving. In winter, Arctic blasts send temperatures plummeting to dangerous lows. Blizzards turn towns into iceboxes. Come summer, tornadoes sweep across the plains like giant sky blades, leaving trailers and barns in pieces. These extremes, combined with a lack of urban amenities, drive away even those who once romanticized rural life. And for the few who remain, there's a gnawing realization. Tourism can't carry an economy. Rushmore visitors don't stick around. They pass through like the wind, fast, loud, and gone. What's left is a service industry dependent on short seasons and low wages, along with a shrinking middle class and aging population. The towns between attractions resemble stage sets, beautiful from a distance, but empty at their core. Number 6. Montana. If South Dakota is quietly fading, Montana is disappearing into its own vastness. The sheer scale of this state, 147,000 square miles, creates the illusion of abundance. But more space doesn't mean more people, or more opportunity. In fact, in Montana, it often means the opposite. What looks like a cinematic paradise is, for many, a logistical nightmare. Towns are so spread out that a doctor's visit might require a 2-hour drive. A grocery run can take half a day. Miss your gas station window, and you are stranded. For elderly residents and young families, this isn't a rustic charm. It's a life of daily survival planning. And the climate only makes it worse. Winters are bitter and blinding. Roads disappear under sheets of ice and snow. Then come spring floods from melting snowpacks. By summer, you are inhaling wildfire smoke that turns blue skies brown for weeks. Nature dominates here, not gently, but violently. And while city dwellers fantasize about cabins in the woods, they forget about the bears, the wolves, and the blazing isolation. The wealthy swoop in to build summer homes near Glacier or Yellowstone. But those pockets of affluence mask a broader exodus. Locals can't afford the rising property taxes driven by out-of-state millionaires. Generational families are being priced out of their own land, watching their childhood homes turn into Airbnbs. Montana is a dream for those who only visit. For those who stay, it's becoming a fight for existence. Not against nature, but against being pushed to the margins of a state they once called home. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, and current affairs impacting your lives. Number 5. West Virginia. West Virginia isn't empty because of its size. It's empty because the systems that held it together have all failed. Once it was the muscle of America. Its coal-powered cities. Its workers built railways, towns, and industries. But when coal fell, so did everything else. There was no backup plan, no diversification. Just darkness, economic, social, and cultural. Factories closed, small businesses folded, young people left. And those who stayed faced a rising tide of despair. That despair took a brutal form: addiction. The opioid epidemic hit West Virginia like a sledgehammer. Some towns saw entire generations wiped out or hooked. Funeral homes outnumbered job postings. With broken families and shattered communities, the state became a case study in what happens when a region is abandoned by the very economy it once fueled. Schools are underfunded. Roads crumble. Basic health care is far away and often unaffordable. The mountains that once symbolized pride and resilience now represent entrapment, beautiful barriers that isolate instead of inspire. And worst of all, there's a haunting sense of betrayal. People here worked hard, followed the rules, and believed in the system. But now, they are watching their towns rot while politicians talk about revitalization, with no plan and no urgency. West Virginia didn't just fall behind. It was left behind. Number 4. Nebraska. If West Virginia feels like a place betrayed by progress, Nebraska feels like a place progress simply overlooked. There's no calamity here. No dramatic collapse. Just stillness, like a town that never received the memo that the 21st century began. Nebraska is not in crisis. It's in slow motion, and that might be even worse. Once you leave Omaha or Lincoln, it's a different reality. The terrain stretches flat in all directions, a horizon of cornfields and silence, but not the warm, nostalgic kind of silence. It's the silence that feels like erasure, a void where ambition used to be. Towns that once had vibrant main streets now have "for sale" signs on every third building. Schools are consolidating, hospitals are disappearing, and the younger generation? They don't wait to graduate from high school before deciding to leave. Tornado season adds insult to stagnation. Every year the skies spin up violence that cuts through communities too small to rebuild. But even after the winds die down, it's the economic vacuum that keeps pulling people out. Farming jobs are fewer, mechanized, and corporate-owned. Tech and creative industries are practically non-existent. You can grow corn, but you can't grow a future. There's no scandal here, no headlines, just a gradual fade. It's not a place people run from. It's a place they quietly outgrow, never mentioning it again unless pressed. In that way, Nebraska doesn't feel like part of the national conversation. It feels like a place the nation left paused. And when your biggest problem isn't crime or climate, but complete invisibility, how do you even begin to fix that? Number 3. Alaska. If Nebraska is forgotten, Alaska is forsaken by nature, by policy, by everything that makes modern life bearable. It's easy to romanticize Alaska. Snowy peaks, midnight suns, wild animals, the final frontier. But for the people who actually live there year-round, the beauty quickly morphs into brutality. Anchorage and Fairbanks try to offer urban comfort, but outside those two, reality hits hard. Many towns are so remote that they are only accessible by bush plane or boat. Some are entirely cut off for months. Roads don't always exist. Emergency services are hours, sometimes days, away. And when winter arrives, it's not just cold, it's dark. Imagine 20 hours of pitch black each day for weeks on end. The human brain wasn't built for that kind of isolation. Mental health spirals here, and seasonal depression isn't seasonal, it's permanent. Alcoholism rates are among the highest in the country. Suicide rates, too. Add in the threat of wild animals like bears, wolves, and moose, you start to wonder how anyone stays. Then there's the cost. A gallon of milk can cost $10 in some villages. Gasoline prices spike with every oil fluctuation. Electricity can bankrupt you if you are not on the grid, and many aren't. Oil jobs exist, sure, but they are few, dangerous, and often temporary. And when they dry up, entire communities collapse overnight. Even government assistance programs struggle to reach remote regions. Infrastructure is patchy. Education quality varies wildly. And as climate change accelerates, wildfires, floods, and permafrost melt have made some areas outright uninhabitable. The dream of Alaska is strong, but it's not real for most residents. People come with visions of wild freedom. They leave with frostbitten fingers and maxed-out credit cards. And for those too poor to leave, Alaska becomes a prison made of ice. Number 2. Kansas. Kansas is the heartbeat of America, at least on a map. It's the state you fly over, the one textbooks call the breadbasket, the one where small-town values supposedly endure. But those values are fading fast because the people are. The land is flat, the skies endless, and the silence deafening. Tornadoes rip through towns that don't have the funds to rebuild. Rural hospitals close down without warning. Schools consolidate as populations shrink. And once proud communities now feel like abandoned movie sets, barely clinging to relevance. The economy here is in a quiet, stubborn decline. Farming is increasingly mechanized and corporate-owned. Small businesses can't compete with online retailers, and there are no booming industries to reverse the trend. No tech hubs, no entertainment capitals, just a slow leak of young minds heading anywhere but home. Even the cities aren't safe. Wichita struggles with crime and job loss. Topeka is a shell of its political past. And Kansas City, its biggest urban draw, isn't even fully in Kansas. Half of it belongs to Missouri, and that half gets most of the attention. There's a strange sadness in Kansas, not the loud kind, but the kind you feel driving through endless miles of emptiness where "for sale" signs outnumber families. Churches are still full on Sundays, but the congregations are older, smaller, and more fragile. This isn't the Wild West anymore. It's not even the Midwest of your grandparents' stories. It's a vanishing center, geographically relevant, emotionally erased. And in a world moving faster every day, Kansas feels like it's stuck in a sepia-toned loop, watching the future pass it by. Number 1. Mississippi. Mississippi isn't just a state. It's a story. One of deep blues, proud resistance, and unmatched cultural legacy. But also of generational pain, political neglect, and crushing poverty. It's a place where the soil has soaked in both jazz and blood, where history breathes from every building, but prosperity rarely does. Once the epicenter of Southern identity, today, Mississippi is more ghost than glory.